Bashers! Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Dirk. It's Dirk Weekdays. Good to see you on usually whatever Wednesdays, but today's Wednesday Bash. I thought maybe we'd have a little bit more fun than usual. Um, Only because I was watching Piers Morgan this morning, and he's a dick, but I agree with him on a couple of things. And he always has some funny people on his show pitting ideologies against one another, and I agree with some of it, and some of it I don't. But uh, you saw my headline. I was just so disgusted. Um, and I felt dirty. I felt really, really dirty. And it hit me in a place that I normally don't pay any attention to, an arena, a part of my a part of my world. It's not. But I guess what I'm saying is I don't want individual people speaking for me as a person or as a part of a group of people, because I don't think that I think we're all individual people. I think we can all express ourselves. I think our expression is beautiful, and that's fine. But when you start talking as a spokesperson for a blanket of people in some unofficial capacity, I think it's demeaning, demoralizing, and generally distasteful. And that's how I feel about Sam Smith. I never really cared about him as a singer. He's a little too meow, meow, meow for me. But he's had a couple of cute little songs, and I didn't think his Bond song was terrible. I thought it was good. The writing on the wall was the worst of the most. It won an Oscar. It did. It won an Oscar. But I feel like, because people are writing such shitty songs. Diane Warren's got a song in there every year, and then there's all these bullshit songs that come out. I think Billie Eilish's song for Barbie, a film I'll never see. I thought that song was incredible. I think she's a great artist. I liked her Bond song. Adele's song, I liked it a lot. I think Chris Cornell should have won an Oscar for You Know My Name. He wrote that with David Arnold, who scored most of the Bond films. And I love David Arnold, who's a lovely singer, by the way. I didn't realize it until I did a deep dive. He does performances every once in a while. Lovely singer. But, let's see who's in the chat, and then we'll get into all the stupidness. And I have some pictures and some things. And I'm just like, just stop it, Sam Smith. Just cut it out. First of all, it is your career is in the toilet. And listen, my career was in the toilet too, but I didn't start wearing ladies' panties and masturbating on stage and simulating all kinds of weird sex acts and being kinky and weird and being peed on and stuff like that. And he thinks, well, that's what gay people do. Yeah, sure. Not one I know. So I don't know where that's coming from. Dave for F451, Fahrenheit 451, upvoted number one for fun. Yeah, let's have a little bit of fun. Vaughn says, hey, all you brazenly bastardly bastards, good afternoon. Enjoy the fine skills of our raconteur, his darkness. Thank you so very much. I hope I can live up to that statement. Ray says, gotta be honest, this guy disgusts me so much. I'm gonna watch with one eye closed if I can. I'll keep it brief because, it just ruined my coffee this morning watching him. Go do what you want, Sam Smith, but don't speak for the rest of us. That's what I mean. Angelo Minichiello, hey all, ciao from my corner of Canada. Oh, Canada, all the best to you. Nick Sisto, ciao, Angelo, good evening all. Angelo also says, hey Nick, we'll see what Dirk is going to share. I'm not any kind of Sam Smith fan, but I do like the song he did with Normani, Dancing with a Stranger. I didn't mind that either. Listen, I'm not talking about his art at all. Because I'm ambivalent about him. I've heard a couple of songs he's made that I thought were okay, but he's just a little too, all these castrati kind of countertenory guys, they don't really do it for me unless you're Mandy Patinkin. I don't really care. Al Benedetti, hey everybody, vicious storm blowing through Ohio. Ooh. I hope all is well elsewhere. I'll have to go start paying attention to that because I'm in New York and I pay attention to New York. I just look at my local weather very rarely unless a big storm. I don't know what's happening there. Please stay safe. Dean says, hey, Dirk and all the bastards in the room and anyone else in between. That's right. You and me and everything in between. That's what it's about. Melly C, good day, Dirk. Hope you're well. Nathaniel, hold on. We'll be driving the 71 Vet this evening. Wow, that's exciting. I love the 68 to 72. That's my favorite Corvette years, and for a guy that doesn't have a driver's license, I know a whole hell of a lot about Corvettes of that era, and I don't know why, because I used to subscribe to Vet magazine, and I thought I would get a Corvette, and then I wound up never ever even getting a driver's license. It's very weird, but it's very, very true, and I don't know why I did that, but I did. So what do we give to you? We give you the triangles because we love them. Cha cha cha. Thank you so much. Hey, there he is. Vizelios Pierce here. Jade is here. Hitesh is here. Hey, Hitesh, I'm sending out your CD tomorrow morning. Rufus, the last brilliant Smith was Elliott Smith. I would agree there. I loved Elliott Smith. And Atesh says, don't forget to upvote. And thank you so much. Please upvote. It helps the channel out immeasurably. You wouldn't believe what it does to the algorithm. And I'm trying to make this my job. Andrew Wolkowicz, Canadian, $5. I'm here. Upvote and subscribe, everyone. Let's bash. Let's bash. And let's send you a gong. I'm such a David Arnold fanatic that because of the Bond movies, let's be frank. And he wrote that song with Chris Cornell called You Know My Name, which I think is great. That's the theme to Casino Royale. Amazing, amazing song. Chris Cornell, amazing singer. I didn't really like Soundgarden. It took me forever to come around to that guy, and I'll be honest with you, I like his solo work. His bands don't speak to me, but he does. And I love the Bond theme. It's one of my favorites. My favorites, of course, being the Shirley Bassey, because I'm gay. But not like the devil lingerie queen and her bullshit. My sister says you drive way too fast. I'm actually very comfortable behind the wheel of a car. I know how to drive, but she's probably right. I probably drive too fast because I just feel like I've been doing it forever and I don't drive. Dean with the £1.99. I love the triangle. You love the triangle? Well, guess what? We love the triangle too, and you deserve it right now. Thank you so much, Dean. So, and today I was right before the show, actually, I kept going, how long is this movie? I was watching Independence Day because David Arnold wrote the score for it, and the score is very, very good. The movie, however, has anybody seen that movie? It's so bad. Doesn't know whether or not it's science fiction or comedy, and it doesn't mix them that well. It's very corny and cliche. And the whole time I was sitting there like, this couldn't happen because this couldn't happen and this couldn't happen, because it just made me feel like my brain was turning into an old sponge, the ones that smell under your sink. Terrible and terrifying. So anyway, so this Sam Smith thing. So this morning I'm watching Piers Morgan, and some snivelly queen is on the show with her little pink sweater, and she's just being all them, they. Use the right pronouns, Pierce. You're terrible, with the affected voice. Because let's face it, nobody really speaks like that. That's an affectation. It's not real at all. I should know. I've been around the block a million times. And, we were around in the late 80s when RuPaul was dancing at Boy Bar, and we all knew him. And he's a guy that likes to dress up and put on a good show and puts on a whole persona, which was entertaining and great. Delight, Groove is in the heart. They were there, and there's so many famous. Keith Haring was there. There was so many people. It was such an interesting, lively scene. I knew all the drag queens, and they were all fun, but they all had they didn't walk around the street going, this is my pronoun and this is your pronoun, bullying people into it's like, when did this license? It's like people who smoke pot on the sidewalk. When did that become like, I have to listen to you? I don't have to listen to you, because I think this is the way I look at it. Like, the generation before me all died of AIDS, and they were repressed, and they were in the closet, and they went to parks and public toilets and had to do terrible things in terrible places because it was the only place they could do what they wanted to do or needed to do or get it out of their system or whatever. And they wound up being on the sneak. And that's why all these married people died and women died, and then their kids died. And it was terrible. And these people fought for rights, equal rights as human beings, just to be not to be put on a pedestal or worshipped or feared, even worse, because that's what's happening now. Um, they did all this work for all these people who don't even know what Stonewall is or what AIDS was. They all pop a pill and they have unsafe sex and they figure they're grand. There was a time, I'll be honest with you, I don't think I had ever fooled around with anybody on the real. And I went for the first HIV test because I think I kissed somebody. And I went to South Jamaica, which is the worst neighborhood in the world, and they were in hazmat suits. That's how scary it was. It was a thing that would kill you if you got it, and it was horrific. So now you got Sam Smith, who's speaking for the LGBTQIA XYZ and sometimes W, sometimes Y, or whatever the rules are for that multi acronym that it seems like every week there's a new thing. I want nothing to do with that shit at all. I don't want anything to do with it. It's annoying. You guys know my position on that. I'm just a regular dude who's been in a relationship for 35 years with another regular person, and I like restaurants and good wine, and I love animals, and I just want to be a regular person. I don't want to be treated any differently from any other person. I don't flaunt or push any of my propaganda on anybody. And I think anybody who does that should just be fucking taken out back because it's annoying. So anyway, I'm watching Piers Morgan, and this snivelly queen is on there correcting everybody with pronouns and all this crap. And they're talking about Sam Smith. This guy's defending Sam Smith. And then there was this guy on the panel whom I do not know. And he was saying how he thinks his behavior is vulgar, how how Sam Smith's activities are depraved and adjacent to normality. And the word normal is a word I don't generally tend to use, but he was basically saying that I don't want anything to do with that. And the guy had no idea about this other guy. And he's like, well, you're a cisgender straight male, so you should shut up. And the guy goes, I'm gay. And that just shut the snivelly queen up right away, because this is an older guy who had to fight to just be treated as a regular human being. And that's all any of the preceding gay people ever tried to do, was just be perceived as normal people living normal lives, loving people, doing their best bit, just trying to be good neighbors and humans, etc. And now you have this whole freaking syndicate of these people who think that we all love to get tied up and peed on and wear rubber lingerie and wear pasties and all this kind of crazy shit. And here, I'll show you. And this is what they were showing Sam Smith doing. Let's see, what did I get here? Chrome tabs, yeah. So Sam Smith says he wants to be a figure in the gay community. Well, it's not a very good figure. So here's him on a yacht, right? Okay, so she got chubby. That's fine. See, that's what the old queens do, say she. Now, he used to be a somewhat handsome guy, and like he's obviously shaved his entire body because he's, gender neutral now or whatever the frick he's doing. So, and then, he used to look like this, like a regular guy. I mean, he's got a lot of makeup on, but he likes to pose in his underwear, obviously, and he likes to stick his tongue out and be provocative. So now he's into this whole thing. Let's see what this looks like. So this is his stage look now, where it's just corsets and panties and fishnet stockings and lace-up leather boots, and people are whipping on him and simulating urination and all kinds of crazy stuff like that. And this is a guy who started out as just a very quiet, demure British singer-songwriter, and he had a lovely little countertenor voice and had a couple of hits, but then his career kind of flatlined. And he was lucky enough to get a Bond theme because he had some hip-hop combination single. I was reading about how he got that gig. Turns out they were looking for somebody else, and they kind of defaulted to him. But then that kind of went away, and his career was flatlining like crazy. So he decided to put out this provocative album, declare himself gender neutral, and he put on a lot of weight. And listen, like for somebody who's had, I'm not saying I have body dysmorphia, but like I've been up and down with my weight. I've never been too fat or any of that, but I've 20 pounds overweight, and I feel, I don't walk around with my shirt off in the streets because I've always been so self-conscious. I wish I had the self-confidence to walk around with masking tape on my nipples. And I mean, it's just absurd how he's celebrating himself now that he's at his absolute worst. And like I think like people like Lizzo and stuff like that, I think it sends a very bad message when you're grossly overweight. Like we all want to be healthier people. And listen, this is a person who I drank syrup of ipecac when I was young to get rid of the baby fat. And I did a lot of stupid things, made myself vomit, and because I wanted to look a certain way. And then I got down to like 120 pounds for a while. And man, I looked good. I know it was very unhealthy, but so this is what he's doing now. He's doing this whole thing. And I'll show you a little clip that I was watching on the thing. I'm not going to play any of the super provocative stuff because it's not suitable for my show at all. And I have the sound off too because I don't want anybody. I don't want to get demonetized because I played Sam Smith stuff. So here it goes. This is his new stage act. He's like an old, tired burlesque queen. He's wearing like a probably ladies plus size girdles. He's a Randy Devil. He's got a cod piece underneath his ladies' panties that are all rhinestones, and he's a devil. And there's a part later in this video where it's like he's simulating having massive group sex with a bunch of people. And then he says something later on about gay rights. And I just was so incensed by this whole thing that all of this imagery has absolutely nothing to do with being gay in any way, shape, or form. This only has to be about being tired. He's a tired cliche. Madonna did that shit 40 years ago. She was wearing corsets and simulating S&M and all this crap. And we've seen this before. We've seen this a million times before. But wasn't it much more fun when stuff was innuendo, when there was something clever in a lyric or a video passage where the door closed and you could only imagine what goes on there? It's just disgraceful that this guy thinks that he has the right to speak for an entire demographic of people who have striven to live a nice, honest life and be respectful to themselves first, and in turn respectful to others. That's my opinion on Sam Smith. What do you guys think about Sam Smith? I'm not going to play. I had a bunch of other stuff that's grosser, and I decided I don't want to show it to you because it's not appropriate for my show. But I mean, look at this. Here. I'll show you one last shot. This is gross. You know what I mean? Like, where is it? Yeah, this thing, this big giant picture. Now, what are we supposed to believe is happening on the left-hand side here? That poor guy who's probably a dancer, who's probably repulsed by this big bloatus, he has to pretend that he's taking him from behind, which is disgusting. And I'm sorry that I'm even saying that here. And I don't even know what his music sounds like. I remember listening to that video, that song he had where, that was really disgraceful. It was pornographic, actually. And I'm not a prude in any way, shape, or form. I'm not. But what I am is grossed out by people who think that they can speak for an entire demographic of people. Now, we had burlesque and back in the day that was titillating, where you had, various forms of undress. We've had strippers. We've had all kinds of exotica / erotica over the years. Only in the back rooms of very seedy bars where the dancers also participate in prostitution and other nefarious activities does something that extreme go on. This is a mainstream artist signed to a major record label, promoting his work by putting out this filth. And I just think it's gross. And I think he needs to keep it to himself. And I'm just so incensed by it. What do you guys think? Let's see what people say. Nathaniel Hannon chiming in for $4.99. What you're talking about is the difference between gay people and the gays. Yeah, it's like the gay mafia. What the fuck? And is his music relevant in any way? Not that like I would know because I don't pay attention to the charts for the most part, and I don't really care because it's not for me. The music that was played in my era was the music for me, and that's the one I paid attention to. I've tried to pay attention to some of it, and some of it's really good, and some of it's really really crap. You know. Andrew says that he looks like Madonna with a beard. Well, he is Madonna with the beard. You know, Madonna at 65 is still doing the same old tired tropes. And you know what? I feel bad for her too. I think, listen, when she was young and beautiful and had the most beautiful body in the world, sure, it was kind of sexy. But this guy, maybe when he was, you know, in better shape, I mean, to be flaunting that shit is just like blah. Dean says, Ray, you were much too quiet typing on it. Is he live again? No. Come on. Let me see. Is he? No, he's out of Milan. I watched his show earlier today. No, he's not. No. I was like, no, he knows I'm doing a show today. Dave Fahrenheit 451 says South of 15th Street in South Beach was declared an HIV epidemic area by the CDC in the mid 80s. Of course it was. Listen, there was a whole generation of people after Hate Ashbury and the Summer of Love in the 60s where everybody was doing it with everybody and nobody knew that there was this thing, you know, and there's conspiracy theories to be had on that too, of where it came from and how it became so prevalent in society and how it, you know, how it was people didn't know how it was transmitted. They thought you could get it from kissing, you know, and it's really bad. Ray says not getting involved with this. We love you, Ray, and I'm sorry that I brought it up. It's just, you know, I know you're in the same place as I do. It's just gross. Listen, I think the same thing about anybody. I don't care, gay, straight, bi, gender neutral. I don't give a shit. I think you should keep all your dirty shit in the closet. If it knocks you out, keep it in the bedroom. Whatever you do, I am tired of people's, you know, I'm promoting my sexuality. I'm going to make my sexuality my marquee. It's going to be, I am me. I am tassels and pasties and no, all that stuff. You know, it's the thing is that nobody is afraid that anybody's going to look at them crooked anymore because they're like, well, she's wrong. Everybody has such an attitude about respect. Respecting yourself and respecting other people are almost the same thing. Once you have respect for yourself, you generally will have respect for other people. I'm just amazed that I just think it's his career is shitty. And somebody said to him, you know what you should do? You should put on a bustier. You know, John Doe, what planet is this guy Sam Smith living on? He's lost the plot altogether. His and maybe his is just an asshole for views and attention. Does he believe he looks well? He's so gross. I mean, listen, I mean, that's the way I look at it. I just think his career was in the shitter and he decided to up his ante by being provocative. Isn't that the word? It's the word. Ladies and gentlemen, Tobster McDonkey, everybody's favorite right-wing pundit, especially mine. Sam Smith is a disgrace to his ancestors. Shame for not being gay. Not for being gay, but for all that gross shit and his Bond song. And, you know, I listened to the Bond song today because I said, you know, I remember it not being terrible, and it isn't terrible. It is not also great. I think Billie Eilish's song was really pretty. But I've just been on a David Arnold kick, and I was listening to the theme song that he wrote for Shirley Bassey for Quantum of Solace, and I've mentioned this before on the show, so I'm not going to bore you. They wrote a song called No Good About Goodbye. He wrote a song for Shirley Bassey, and it's magnificent, and she's out of control, brilliant. And it was for Quantum of Solace, and it would have been a great thing, but the producers nixed it at the last minute and got Jack White and Alicia Keys and committed the ultimate sin of producing the world's worst Bond theme. Hey, Sean L., not for nothing, the Radiohead Spectre was so much better. Hate that it was sacked for the movie. Yes. And I'm not like, my problem with Radiohead is that I don't know enough about them. I have the Benz and I liked it a lot. OK Computer confused me, and then I kind of just lost the plot. I'm sure if I dug deep into that band, I would really like them, and I do a pretty good impersonation. Yes, I've heard the Spectre song, and it is really good. that writings on the wall was okay. It was not terrible. There are bad Bond themes. What is your favorite Bond theme, everybody? Bastards. Give us a little shouty shout and tell me what your favorites are. John Doe says he used to look well when he was slim. He's not a bad looking guy, and he was chubby when he started, and then he got really slim, and he looked great in a suit, and but it wasn't working for him. You know why? Because there are a lot of other singers out there who are better looking than him and better singers than he is. You know, I don't think a guy like that cries himself to sleep, Bert. I don't think so at all. I think he's so proud of what he's doing because he's had so much smoke blown up his ass. Let me tell you, when you're a singer or you're an actor or you're in the arts, there are these people that blow smoke way up your ass. And it's and I've seen it happen to people. I've seen them change when a certain kind of smoke gets blown up their ass. And this guy is being touted by this whole, how like Lady Gaga's got her monsters. Now, Lady Gaga started out, she's brilliant. I mean, there's no way around the fact that that chick is great. I hate her monster shit, though, her mama monster crap. And all her, I'm here for all the freaks. Listen, the freaks eventually get over the being freaks, and then they get that job in accounting. That's what happens eventually. Or you're going to the Damned concerts, and you're going to all these concerts for people who are the outsiders, which is kind of what she marketed herself at early on in her career. And and then she got into movies and started doing stuff with Tony Bennett, and then she did another Mama Monster album, and it didn't do well because people were already over it. People were ready because they could see how good she was. They were ready for more of the mature musician, great singer, great songwriter Lady Gaga, because she had evolved. So they didn't want to see that old crap anymore. It's like watching Madonna. I've watched clips of her show because I'm a fan. I like old Madonna a lot. Express Yourself and all that stuff, though, Like a Prayer. I love that whole thing, erotica. I loved it all. Seeing a 65-year-old woman not in the best shape. I know she was ill, but still, it's like, she had like a buttock implant and stuff like that. I mean, it's not evolving gracefully, and seeing her do that is kind of sad too. But Sam Smith, he's a youngish guy. I don't even think he's 40. I think he's in his 30s, and he's embracing being fat. And listen, I've been fat and I've been skinny, and I'm never happy when I'm fat. Never. I'm never happy. And then you have to go through the whole weight loss thing, or just say fuck it and just be happy that they make red sequined ladies underwear in size XXXXL. Andrew says, I'm sure that something somewhere would be into that. Listen, there's, as Kate Bush says, every old sock meets an old shoe. Ain't that a great saying? It's true. There's a sock for every shoe, but you know what? The problem is that everybody doesn't want to wear that sock or that shoe all the time for the most part. And this gets very tired very fast. Had he done one video, everybody would go, oh, Sam Smith, what are you doing? And then it would be over. But he's turned it into what Tobster says. Gay rights has turned it into purple hair cult that wants society to worship them for their gross fetishes. I couldn't agree more. You know what? Maybe it's because I don't have any gross fetishes. I just don't, and I think sex is for very young people too. All that dirty stuff. I think it should be, isn't it great that we all got to do that when we were young and pretty and had our perfect bodies, and we were everybody's beautiful when they're young, big, fat, thin, doesn't matter. Everybody's still beautiful when they're young. Youth is beautiful. And as an older person, I feel like, my time has come and gone for that arena. And, now I like to go look at cathedrals and architecture and piazzas and, some kind of landmark in a foreign land, or, I like other things. I think we evolve. As Paul always says, and this is really funny, he goes, I can't wait till I'm satisfied building ships in bottles, which it's kind of there now. I like the very simple things. I love a gorgeous glass of wine, a really great meal, great conversation. And I don't need anybody to titillate me. And I don't think that's titillating anybody. He's just doing it for effect. And Tobe needs some bleach for his eyes. Thanks, Dirk. I'm with you there. it wouldn't bother me so much if he didn't say he was speaking for a whole generation of people. I don't believe that that's true. You know, I don't think it's true. Andrew wants to know Victor, Victoria, or the Birdcage. That's really tough. Every time I see the Birdcage, I say, "Wow, this film is freaking genius." I mean, everything in that movie is perfect. The dialogue, the script is perfect. The casting is beyond belief, down to Christine Baranski. My favorite line in that whole movie is, "Where are you going?" "I'm going to the cemetery," and he goes, "With a toothbrush? How Egyptian." I think that Hank Azaria was over the top. I think everybody really loved him in that. I thought it was a little overdone, but that's okay. And the other great movie in that, the line in that movie is, "Oh, look, honey, these boys are playing leapfrog on the bowls." uh, John Doe says, "At least Madonna's not 5 stone overweight." She's 65, and we're so accustomed to seeing this live, beautiful dancer's body that she's had her whole life. I mean, Madonna is famous for working out and being fit and trim. Somewhere when she lost her originality, when she decided to be a Kardashian, which she kind of did, she got the ass implant. So against everything that woman stood for. She stood for nutrition and health and keeping her body fit and looking great and being at the top of her game. Somewhere along the way, Madonna lost the plot. So even though she's not overweight, she's just in her mid 60s. And what do we expect people? Why do we expect people in their mid 60s to look like they're in their mid 20s? That's just not the way it works. It's a very unfair expectation, especially for women, to have a certain body image of these kids they're kids. I mean, look at Marlene Dietrich and all these other great actresses from yesteryear that aged so gracefully. Look at Sigourney Weaver. She hasn't had any plastic surgery or anything. She's embracing her age. She's still a great actress. She's in good shape. There are certain people that just say, screw it. Like, I think George Clooney might have had a little bit of an eye job a couple of years ago because he was looking a little, Irish guys tend to get a little bit of bags under their eyes, and they're gone now. So whatever he did, it was a minor tweak because he just wanted to hold on to. I love what George does. George makes a couple of like 2 big movies, and then he makes like 4 art films for himself. It's like, this one's for them, this one's for me, this one's for them, this one's for me. And I think that's pretty cool, because it affords him to be able to do the artistic things he likes to direct. And he's made a lot of really good movies. I like him a lot. Toussaint Lou says, there was an artist that was over the top several years back, funded by tax money. I would love to know who that is, Toussaint Lou. Funded by tax money. Interesting. I don't even know what that means. That sounds crazy. Steve Moreno, we'll stop talking about him now because it's pointless. Recently watched a touching movie called Swan Song starring Udo Kier. It's about an aging drag performer who knows he's nearing the end. Listen, I have known so many people in that industry, and it is an industry. Like, we have a friend named, another Paul, not my Paul, another Paul, who used to hang around with us back in the day, and he was like always at the same shows we were, and we were friends with RuPaul, and Ru was obsessed with Paul. She wanted to be his boyfriend so bad because RuPaul is a man on the street, and is RuPaul the drag queen on stage. It's a performance piece. It's not more. She's not looking for gender neutrality or any of that. That's not. She's old school. I mean, she's what, 60 now? She's got to be, or he. But it's art. People have been playing. I mean, back in the day, in Shakespeare's time, women weren't allowed to play roles at all, right? They, back in all the old thespian times, they were always men, right? Because women, were just, it was stupid back then. And there was all these men that perfected the Japanese and arts, amazing, incredible characterizations. And it comes a time in all of our lives when certain things that we were able to do, we can't do anymore. It's the same for singing, like perfect example is like I used to sing 4 octaves daily, and that was, me trained in my youth in the best shape of my life, having to hit like, F sharp 6 and stuff like that. And that was considered like, and when you don't have that anymore, and sometimes you do have it and sometimes you don't, but I always, it was a point when you're young, you have it all the time. Once age starts to creep in, your vocal cords get thicker. You have to slowly remember that you're aging, and you can't try to, there's no way to fix it other than lip syncing, which is something that I would never do. But I know a lot of people do. Don Henley just got busted for lip syncing. Don fucking Henley. And he's one of the greatest rock singers of all time, or soft rock, country rock, whatever. I mean, one of the greatest voices. When you think about in the rock era, who the great singers are, you go Freddie Mercury, Steve Perry, Don Henley. He's up there. I mean, he's one of the greatest. I mean, we might have our personal favorites, quirky favorites, but when you think about the universal guys out there, like I was always more of a Lou Gramm from Foreigner guy over Steve Perry, but man, Steve Perry's voice is I can't deny it. And Steve Perry retired because he can't sing all that crazy stuff. It's so high, and he's in his 70s, and he doesn't want to do anymore. I don't know why we can't all come to grips with age. Things you have to just start to acclimate to age and make adjustments in your diet, your health, all those things to just keep on going to the best of your abilities at that moment. Reliving the glory days is nearly impossible for almost everybody. Dean says he's going through a midlife crisis. I don't know. I don't even know how he is. Plenty of money and no style. Isn't that true about a lot of people? Scotty Love. I have no idea who this guy is, but I just got to the gym and that body is making me want to. Right, you just want to stay at the gym, right? I mean, if anything's made me want to go to the gym more, it's that. It's horrible. You guys talking about Rob? I never met Robert Mapplethorpe. I never met him. He was part of that whole Patti Smith world. I think that they were best friends, and I think that they lived together and stuff like that. He died of AIDS. You get pedophile basement vibes. Yeah, I mean, and that's the other thing. It's bad enough that certain segments of society already think that there's, gay people are trying to lure children and stuff. And then you have a pop star who's doing these incredibly provocative, very, dare I say, perverse acts, and they've got young kids into that music. It's not a good look. It's not a good look for the gay community. He's doing the gay community a very sad disservice, Yeah. Angela says, sadly, browbeating people with a cause often creates more problems than it fixes. It also diminishes the people's real struggles. I agree 100%, and I'm sorry for ranting about it today. I was just so annoyed that how dare he try to speak for me, because I have nothing to do with that guy. It's true. Oftentimes, it's like, when people cry that they, people love being victims now. They love it. And that's a shame, because there are really victims out there who need help, because they're victims. Magic Mike says, the world is not enough. Yeah, it's a great song. Well, yeah, my sister says, live and let die. Sure. Incredible. Smoke or coke blown up the ass. Live and let die, live and let die, live and let die. Lady Gaga's daddy, very rich. Actually, that's not exactly true, and I'll tell you why. I know a couple of people who know her whole world. He owned a restaurant, or owns a restaurant, and she grew up on the Upper East Side. So I think that they had money, but I don't think they're super rich. Not like Taylor Swift's dad, who's super rich. Now you're talking, Dave. Diamonds Are Forever. I actually, one of my favorites is Moonraker, and it gets no love at all. That's a great one. That was the third and final Shirley Bassey one. Al says, live and let die, but also A View to Kill. I love View to Kill. Best song, worst movie. Unfortunately for me, the Roger Moore films we've talked about this. I just don't love Roger Moore. He's the saint. I didn't love Roger Moore as James Bond. He's not masculine enough, and he was way too old. Ray, love every Bond song bar Sam Seal Clubbing Smith song. No, I want to tell you about the victim of majesty. That's the worst. I think the two worst Bond songs are "Die Another Day" by Madonna. That's a terrible song. And she could have got Patrick Leonard, and they could have done a big sweeping Bond thing. They could have done it. But she got one of her DJs. She was in her DJ phase, when she lost the plot. She lost the plot musically a long time ago. She started working with Kiroz and she worked with Shep Pettibone on the Erotica album, but there's great songs on that album. So I don't know. Patrick Leonard and Stephen Bray, she was writing great songs. It's like when Mariah Carey used to write all her songs with a guy named Walter Afanasieff. Amazing songs. And then she started hanging out with P. Diddy and all the thugs and doing all that shit. And just, because people are trying to stay relevant. You can stay relevant if you stay true to yourself. You want to be relevant? Be you. That's the best way to do it. Vasilio says, "View to a Kill." Yeah, I love it. As they say, Melly C says, "Youth is wasted on the young." Ain't that the truth? Gene says, "Speak for yourself, Dirk. I'm still pretty. You feel pretty. Oh, so pretty." By the way, that's a song from West Side Story that Stephen Sondheim tried to get rid of when they were doing the revivals. He felt the song was too immature for his body of work, and he tried to get that out. Andrew says, "Dirk, I don't have any gross fetishes." Me? What? To bar notes from the 90s? Yeah. Nathaniel Hannon, $1.99. Super chat, super chat, super chat, super chat, super chat, super chat. You can't handle my Guatemalanness. That's killer, man. Where am I? I hate when it doesn't go right back to the chat where I was. I have to go. Listen, look at that. Dean says that Sigourney Weaver has an alien inside her stomach. Andrew says, "Men with minimal effort as we age look like Clooney or Connery." I mean, Connery was a ride until the day he died. Women with minimal effort also look like Clooney or Connery. I've never wanted to get into bed with a Clooney or Connery. Not yet, Andrew. Not yet. Speaking of lip syncing, who lip synced for Milli Vanilli? Now, I don't think I talked about this at all on my channel, on my show, but I wrote an open letter to the Grammy Awards last year because I was so tired of all the lip syncing that goes on the Grammy Awards and all the artists now that are all auto-tuned and all that shit. And I'm beating a dead horse because you guys know my stance on that. I think Milli Vanilli owed an apology because that guy killed himself over the shame, and I think it's terrible. Who lip sung for them? Studio singers. They hired some people. Yeah. Oh, so here's Toussaint Lou explaining the artist that was tax money. Tax money, National Endowment for the Arts. People thought it should not be used for Mapplethorpe's artwork, considered obscene by many. Oh, yeah. Well, artists can cross the line. I mean, Michelangelo crossed the line. David was considered offensive to people. They used to put fig leaves over people's genitals, and once they started showing ripe breasts and appendages and things like that. So listen, we're more in the Victorian era for a lot of things. Like, you can't say certain things anymore. You can't, like, I was watching that stupid movie Independence Day today, and who's the New Orleans piano guy? He's from New Orleans, right? Anyway, he started doing a Martin Luther impersonation. I was like, you would never get away. A white guy would never get away with doing that in a movie now. So you can't do stuff like that, but yet Sam Smith can do what he does. I don't understand. Like, where is there like a rule book? I don't really get it. Mr. Badgas, big fan of Agent Grey. Bonnie Raitt, she's a queen. That's why. Bonnie Raitt has always been Bonnie Raitt. She's not trying to be anything other than the excellence that she already is. And you know what? Finally, it caught up with her when she put out Nick of Time, a Grammy Award for Album of the Year, Song of the Year. She won everything because everybody started to appreciate how great she was. Somebody told me something a long time ago about success, and it's all about being tenacious. It's all in the tenacity, kids. Stick to it, stick to your guns, and believe in yourself, and other people will believe in you too. She rewrote her history. She funded Dad's restaurant on the Upper West Side, and they claimed she was raised there. She grew up in Yonkers. Maybe. I don't. Maybe a little bit. Scotty Love says this show is gay. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Harry Connick. That's exactly who I was talking about. Exactly who I was talking about. Yeah, here you go. The NEA and the NEH fund is less than $1 per capita for Americans. We don't spend squat on funding the arts in this country. We used to at one time. Isn't that a shame? It's true. It's very true. Bashtards Gallery. I have a lot of pictures here today. Thank you all. I thank you all. Let's get that cracking. Let's start out with Mr. Nathaniel Hannon. Oh, did you just get this? I didn't know that. I didn't know you got this. Nice. Look at that thing. I love that green, that mossy green, man. I absolutely love it. Look at that. Let me try that on next time since we have the same size wrist. Two things I love about Tudor, their color choices, and I love their crown. And I love the knurling on their divers. I just love it. It almost looks like military grade. They're tanks, man. These things are tanks. Thank you so much. Down out, 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 down out. That's a great song. If you take a life, tell me just what you'll give. I'm sure you won't like what it is. Okay, let's... Bert. Look at that. With his Honda. That looks fast. 1000F. Does that always mean that it's 1000 cc's? Where is this picture shot? That's beautiful, man. Wow. I have no idea where you live. That is absolutely beautiful. That looks really, really fast, and it looks dangerous. Is that one picture or two pictures? It's one picture. That's a Harrods exclusive, Tudor. Yeah, that's what he says. The Harrods Tudor. I love how you guys know all that shit. Steve Moreno with his Gran Seco. That is one handsome. Look at this, man. Does anybody do dials like, say, Gran Seco? Shit, that's a beast. That's a very Omega looking bracelet. That looks like the 1479 to me. 1498, sorry. Looks like the 1498. Ugh. And spring drive. Wow. That is so beautiful. Wow. Looking great on the wrist. Just one shot. Don't be afraid to send me multiple pictures in one email because I can just scroll really fast through them. You know, I can get them up without me having to talk in between stuff. Dean McKenzie showing off the garden. It's the best part of the show. I love showing off your stuff. You share with me, I share it at the world. You know why? Because you send all your stuff to me. basherdirk@gmail.com. Share with me, I share with the world. Thank you. Look at these. Oh, I thought there was more than one picture here. Isn't there? Oh, yeah. Looking good. I had my basil. So I told you guys that I had this basil right over here. I had to take it out of here. It was doing really, really well until I realized that this new pot that I had didn't have drainage in it because there was a tray under it and I thought it would be drained. I went to go clear the drain and my roots got soaked and it started to get really sad. So I had to take each basil plant out of this giant pot and squeeze the roots out, leave them out in the sun and repot them. And I'm only praying that it gets better. Those are beautiful, man. Oh, I'll take pictures of my garden after the show tonight so I can have them. Yeah, we just potted. We just started potting, so beautiful. Thank you so much. Tell me just what you'll give. I'm sure you won't like what it is. Thank you, Dean. This is from Angelo. Angelo and I had a very interesting talk as we were talking last night about heart procedures, and he told me all about his stuff. And I have some for the faint of heart. I'll share them last. He had some major medical procedures done because he had, when he was a kid, and this is a beautiful shot, man. Look at this. Look at this. Is like you couldn't paint that if you tried. Or maybe somebody could. That is absolutely beautiful. Look at that. Where is that? He had a congenital problem with his aorta not being long enough, so they had to have surgery. He had to have surgery as a child, and it's been a lifelong thing where he's had a couple of surgeries to keep him with us in the Bashtards Gallery, and he's had a really amazing life. And we're so lucky that modern science is able to catch up. And I'll share the pictures he sent with me because he said I could. I asked. I said, do you want me to? And he was like, yeah, why not? And I was like, it's good for people to know about that stuff. Oh, here's Andrew. Andrew! He's the kitties. Are they sleeping or fighting? What are they doing? Oh, they're fighting. They're having a play fight. Very cute. I know the black and white's going to win. Because they always do. Because they're just so that clever. They're smarter than the average bear. Oh, baskets. We were talking about baskets last night. I was talking about the laundry skip. Now, of course, Laverne liked to sit on the box. So if she's found the hamper, she wouldn't sit in it. She didn't want to be contained. She wanted to be surveilling at all times. It's a month today since Laverne left me. This morning was not easy. A month. Okay, now let me get this right. Here we go. This is from Scotty Love. He was going to send the pictures last night, but here they are now for your viewing pleasure. Why won't this blow up? Okay, there it goes. Well, we like this. Hey, we get 2 for the price of 1. We get his cat and the Speedmaster Professional. Amazing. Wow, what a beauty. That's Freddy. It's feral Freddy. He gives us a little story about how this cat just comes. Look at this. Man. See, Oshin would be happy to just, I'd want him. I'd want to trap him. I'd want that guy in my house. Look at him. But they're happy. My neighbor Rose has a cat that's not hers. He just shows up twice a day on her roof, comes into her apartment, eats, sleeps, and then takes off. Now, we don't know. The cat's in beautiful shape. We don't know whether or not Freddy's got a cute face. Holy crap. We don't know if it belongs to somebody. But, sometimes they just want to be on their own and do what they do. Here's Melly C. Oh, yeah. In front of the fire. They know where the heat is. Oh. I love this one. Oh, man. I could just see the character right there. So much character. Oh, and the Timex. Hey, that Timex, that new Pepsi Timex? I went on the website and there's like 15% off if you act now. You can get that watch for like $260. I love the Indiglow. Look at that. Timex, man. And it's an automatic watch, which is pretty amazing. Olive on the table. Uh-oh. From Andrew. Olive on the table. I love how chubby Olive is. Look at that. Look at the size of that cat. Laverne got really fat for a while, and then I trimmed her down. Maybe too much. Maybe if she had a couple extra pounds on her, it would have helped. What a baby. Thanks, Andrew. Okay, then we got Oh, more Cybertruck. Oh, it's funny. He says that the Cybertruck he had yesterday, which was red and gold, it does look just like that. Was that on intention? And is that a wrap? Because you can't really paint stainless steel, right? Have they come up with some kind of cool polymers now that you can paint stainless steel? I don't think you can paint stainless, right? Or you never used to be able to do that. And here's one from Dave. This is the one that we saw last night, right? Oh, this is a video. I can't play that. Okay. So anyway, so I was talking to Angelo last night. This is not for the faint of heart. If you're a faint of heart, there's some actual surgical shots in here. This is what Andrew had. This is what Angelo had to have done. They corrected a birth defect, and he sent me his heart surgery. I was amazed by this, and this is the device that they gave him because he had a bicuspid valve, which has now been fixed, and the doctor invented it. Incredible, huh? Angelo, we're so happy you're here and that all this life-saving stuff is available. It's absolutely beautiful. Oh, I got some new shots came in. This is from Richard. I like baskets too. Oh, man. Wow. You're a beauty. You're a big cat. Oh, here's a picture of James. Okay, hold on a second. James when he was young. Look at that with his BMW. When I was young, I never needed anyone, and making love was just for fun. Those days are gone. Everybody's cut that song. The incredible Eric Harmon, who we lost not long ago, like a month ago. Here's one from Ray Ray. Oh, look at this. Welcome back. Now that we're not talking about your Sam Smith. Look at that thing. Holy man. That's a giant moth, huh? Wow. What was the children's book with the giant moths? What was that? Was that Dr. Dolittle? I think it was. Where they were in search of the giant moth. You got some giant paws there. I just noticed that, Ray Ray. You know what they say about big paws? Big gloves. This is from Scotty H. Lord H. Sire. This is beautiful. This looks like Pee-wee's bike. I'm just looking for my bicycle, Daddy. That's very cool. I didn't take pictures of my bikes yesterday because I was that they're currently under they're being oiled. So it takes about 3 days for the oil to set in, and then I have to, loosen up all the stuff and lubricate the shocks and all that stuff, and it'll be fine. But then I'll take pictures. It'll be great. Andrew, $2 Canadian, $2 Canadian, $2 Canadian. He says, everyone take a moment, upvote and subscribe. If you can, it would be wonderful. We would appreciate it immensely because, I like coming here every day and shooting the shit with you guys. And, it's kind of my job right now. Or I'd like it to be. Scotty Love says that he loves Helen Mirren at any age. And Andrew says, give her my number. Everybody loves her. Mr. Bad Gas agrees. And then you guys are talking about that. I always want to check the chat before I sign off to make sure I didn't miss anything. You guys are talking about his Harrod exclusive, and Dave Fahrenheit 451 says, Mr. Hannah, good for you. Our daughter was able to get one to December 22 without waiting. Must be nice to be young and attractive. It doesn't hurt, that's for sure. And Dean says that the Harrods edition is Tudor's version of the Rolex Kermit. I think it's prettier. Yeah. My sister is going to disagree with you, Lou Tesson, because my niece went to, let's just say they went to They were in the same circles. Lady Gaga grew up in the Upper East Side, not in Yonkers. I don't know what's about. She did study with Don Lawrence, the son of Marty, who was my vocal coach. Don Lawrence is Lady Gaga's private vocal coach and has been her coach forever on 72nd Street. And his father, Marty Lawrence, was my voice coach. Yeah, she went to Convent of Sacred Heart and NYU. Yeah. That's what I know, only because I know people who knew her. So it's not like, from the news or rewriting stories that I like. We actually know people who knew her. We're from New York. You know what I mean? Everybody embellishes stuff to certain things, we just do that. We belong to the cats. They don't belong to us. They tolerate. That's true. They find you. Oh, my sister. So I'll tell you this funny story. My nephew got in to see Don Lawrence because my sister called Don Lawrence, who's like the vocal coach to the stars. He's a much more famous vocal coach than his dad. His dad was mostly opera, and he taught at Juilliard and all that stuff and all that shit. So when he was looking to get a voice coach, I said, you're not going to be able to get a hold of him. He's like Gaga. So she takes him on the road. My sister Cole calls him. He picks up the phone. And he's like, oh, well, I'm very busy. I'm going on the road with Gaga. And she's like, my brother was your father's student for years. And he's like, oh, shit, really? Well, I'm going to have to let you in then because, we have it's kind of like I guess he's like a Nepo baby. So he got in and he got to study with Don Lawrence. He's amazing. I studied with him twice. Because when my voice teacher had heart surgery, I had to go and see his son. And it was a little bit different. They teach bel canto. It's very similar, but he was very different. I was definitely a big fan of his father. But then you fall in love with your voice coach because you rely on them. They become a crutch in a lot of ways, too. Dave says he gets more positive comments than his Rolex. I'm telling you right now, I wear the Milgauss on the street, Omega on the street, and I wear Tobster's Seiko. People start going, oh my God, look at that dial. That's so beautiful. I get so many comments on it like crazy. It's unbelievable. Ray says, it puts the lotion on itself. Ray saying, waiting on that insect to be identified. It's a hybrid. It's a moth. It's a big moth. Dang, Dirk, you didn't show my bike. I didn't show your bike? Come on now. Hold on. I didn't show your bike? Yes, I did, didn't I? Hold on. Or is this old news? I did it already? I did. Wasn't that when I was young? I even gave you a song. Hold on. When I was young, I never needed anyone. Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is it, right? Never to you, my dear Lord H. Never to you. Making love was just for fun. How did I do that? This is not it? It is it, right? Those days are gone. That's the one I said looks like Pee-wee's bike. I'm correct, right? Don't forget the chats. I'm a little behind on the chats because... Oh, Richard says that he spoke to Omega Service today. In the 1940s, Omega would take a year. Can that really be true? It is really true, and I'll tell you why. Because Paul's got a 1946 Omega Speedmaster calendar. And I went into Fifth Avenue and I said, because here's the problem. The crown and the stem are not original, and I wanted to replace them. So it would be about $850, $900 for a service. And I was like, oh, fuck. And they said it would take a year. They told me, yep. So that's 100% true. They have to find the parts. It's not like they can just go into the 1942 drawer. They actually have to either manufacture them. I don't know how they do it, but they claim. And I said I wanted them to replace the crystal because it was definitely not an original crystal. And they can fabricate or make one that's exactly right. But I wanted everything else to be left alone. Hands, loom, all that shit. I wanted them to leave it alone. So that is definitely true. And that's just an email I got from Richard. So you guys can't see that, but that's true. For that, you get the big... That one, like in my ears, just vibrates so hard. Oh, here it is. Yeah. Sorry, I read the email first. Steve says you should take it to an independent waxmaker. They can start. That's very true too. You know, listen, when we go to Rolex or Omega or whomever, whatever, whatever you've got vintage Cartier, you know, it's the pomp and circumstance that you know it's going to the manufacturer. But I know people who have said, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. And when they get the watch back, they did it. Yes, you get all the parts in a bag, but like, and that's fine if, like, for example, my Speedy has like had a water issue at some point in its life. It works just fine, but I have a problem with the crown. If I go counterclockwise, the crown will come off, so it needs to be Loctited, and I could do that myself, but I don't want to. So I went to Omega with that too, and they told me what they do, and I was like, you know, when I do bring that in full service, I'm going to let them redial and relume it, because I'm never going to get rid of that watch anyway, and I'm never going to sell it, so I don't care. I want that watch to be, you know, they could do that. And listen, that's the philosophy behind the whole thing. If you know you're never going to part with that watch, and you know, when I die, if somebody gets it, if they want to sell it, well then tough shit Sherlock. But the parts will still be in the bag. They will give you all the parts back, or they should. And they do everything. I mean, when you open up those old Omega movements, they're so beautiful. What could you let me know in my email, basherdirk@gmail.com, exactly what movement is in there? I'd love to know. Take a picture of it. Take a picture of the whole thing so we can see it all. We'd love to see it. Yeah. Also, I just want to send a special shout out to our dear friend Carolyn Martin, who's not on the show today. She's dealing with something personally and with a friend, and I just want to just say we're thinking about you and we love you, Carolyn. And you know, she was kind enough to let me know that she wasn't going to be around for a couple of days. Sending out all our love to you, and we hope everything gets better as fast as possible. And we love you, and we miss you, Carolyn, because you know you're a big part of the Bastards world, and we love you. I did show it, right? That was the bike you were talking about. You see, I'm getting scared now. Anyway, that's my show, 607. Thank you guys. Wednesday, sorry if I bothered you with the Sam Smith thing, but I was just so mad. It's gross. So special shout out to Angelo Minikilla for letting me share his story, and thank you so much. We're so happy that you're around and doing well. And thank you for all the watches and all of the beautiful Bastards Gallery. I love you guys. Remember to hold the door open. Remember to say please and thank you. And remember, not everybody's having the same day that you are. Give them the benefit of the doubt until you find out that they're, you know, a total